Good afternoon and welcome to Anguilla. Got a new livery for the TBM today. It's looking pretty slick in my opinion. Let's have a real quick look outside. The black and red going on here. We are at Clayton J. Lloyd International Airport. This is a payware scenery that I got. I'm so happy to see this airport in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can get this at simmarket.com. You can get this in the marketplace. You can also get it on flightsim.to. I am not affiliated in any way with this airport or with the designer. I just think it's a great little airport for the Caribbean. Excuse these jets that don't belong here. That is the fault of Aerosoft Simple Traffic. Don't know quite why it puts these big jets at this small airport, but it does. So let's go over here. Ignition's on auto. Let's put the boost pump on auto. Fuel selector on auto. Autopilot on auto. Alright. So we're getting fired up here. Alright. Let's go over here to the timers. Let's hit start. And then
system test.
let's
Okay.
hit the starter button.
Aural warning, okay.
Okay, and NG is coming up. So NG gets to 14. We can come up to low idle here. And then the NG is going to come up to about 59. Watch the IT rise. Make sure it comes up in the green. Doesn't go crazy. 52, 57, 58. Now we can come up to high idle. And that should go up and then come back down and stabilize. The timer going here. Alright, pressure, oil temperature is both good. Fuel's good for the flight. Alright, let's turn the bleed on auto. Let's go here to the radio channels 122.8, transfer that. Alright, so let's see here. ITT's looking good. So we're flying over to Culebra today. That's a little island between. It is part of. It's part of Puerto Rico, but it's between Puerto Rico and St. Thomas. Alright, let's get the weather here. 1017 at St. Martin. That is 3003. Alright, let's put the oxygen on here. Nav and strobe lights on. Alright. Let's put this on there. Let's dial in our altitude. We'll dial in 10,500. We're westbound today. And alright, that should be good for right now for our purposes. Turn on the flight director. Nav mode. Alright, so should be good to go. I don't think we have any air traffic control. We do not, which is fine. Alright, so we're ready to get moving. 122.8 on the COM 1. Alright, that moves over into the right side there for taxi. Alright. Anguilla traffic TBM 9030 Mike Romeo taxiing to runway 11 via taxiway Bravo. CJ Lloyd. Alright, like I said, Aerosoft Simple Traffic is the reason why we have these ridiculously huge jets on the ground here. We shouldn't. Aerosoft Simple Traffic is generally pretty cool. I like it, but sometimes at small airports it has its issues, but generally speaking I think it's pretty cool. So let's come up here. Alright, so let's make sure there's no traffic coming into Anguilla. I don't believe there is, and we can back taxi because we're going to need the full runway here. And there is no traffic, so don't see anybody on the runway. CJ Lloyd traffic, TBM 9030 Mike Romeo, back taxiing runway 11 for departure. CJ Lloyd.
Approaching runway 1129. Entered runway 11.
Make sure there's no traffic on the runway here. This airplane's got the turning radius of a steamship. It really does. I don't know whether that's something I'm doing wrong, something I have set up wrong. I don't quite understand it, but so here is, yeah, you can see all these huge jets and they just shouldn't be there. Alright, let's get ourselves configured here. We got to put 1 notch of flaps down. Oxygen is on. Bleed is on auto. Actually should have the inertial separator on right now for taxi. It's going to be a right turnout. We're going to climb up over... Actually, we're VFR. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to make a left turnout here. And go direct juice. So with the Anguilla scenery, you get this the runway update, and the runway looks fantastic. It looks like it should. Let's see here. Kind of get the feeling that you're supposed to taxi this airplane really slowly. The turning radius isn't so bad when you taxi really slowly. Alright, let's get ourselves lined up on center line here. Alright, the heading indicator does check with the runway number. Alright, let's turn the inertial separator off for takeoff. Alright, get the altimeter is set. The everything looks good. Flaps are set, so I think we're ready to go. Anguilla traffic, TBM 9030 Mike Romeo, taking off runway 11, departure to the west. There'll be a left crosswind turnout off runway 11, Anguilla. And takeoff power is coming in. Takeoff power is set. Engine instruments are in the green. Airspeed is alive. All 3. 70 knots. Cross-checked. All 3. 90 knots. And rotate. Positive rate. Let's bring the gear up. Take a look at the runway, the airport here as we leave. Alright, 115 knots. We can bring the flaps up. let's start bringing the power back here a little bit. Make a left turn here. The beautiful island of Anguilla here off our left side. Nice view of the island and the runway here as we're making our way out. St. Martin in the background there. Alright, so there's sandy ground over there. Power's alright, that's not too bad. Now let's go here, let's go to our flight plan. Let's go direct juice. Let's activate that. And we'll come through the clouds here a little bit. I won't tell if you don't. Alright, let's go autopilot, yaw dampener on. Flight level change mode on. Let's set it to 170 knots. And there is Anguilla, look at that. Look at that, how beautiful. There's the airport, sandy ground, got Meads Bay coming up over here. Just spectacular. This really snazzy looking airplane. St. Bart's in the background over there. Alright, so let's keep an eye on the torque. Make sure we stay at about 90 here in the torque. Alright, the plane is pressurizing. We're only going up to 10,500 feet, but may as well take advantage of all the things this airplane has to offer here. Just beautiful. Right off the left wingtip there's the Four Seasons. So 8,500 for 10,500. Not going too far today, so Saba off there in the distance. Now that would be a fun landing to try to make in this airplane. That would be a fun landing to try to make in this airplane. Alright, torque is at 90, pressurization is looking good, PSI and temps are looking good. No traffic seems to be in the way. Let's see here. Let's go to our flight plan. Get STT, I'd like to be at 3,000 feet. That's VNAV for you. VNAV enabled. Alright, we're coming up on our cruise altitude now. So you got a 17 knot tailwind. That's about up to 21,000 feet or so. That's about the best tailwind we're gonna get. So there's no real reason to climb. Even if there were a reason to climb for winds, which there really isn't. So I'm gonna leave my landing light on because we are close enough to 10,000 feet. You usually turn your landing light off at 10,000 feet rather. But 10,500 feet, I'll keep it on. So we're doing pretty straightforward flight today. Let me show you here real quick. We're just going over, right now we're on our way over here to Juice, and then we're going to make a little bit of a right-hand turn over here towards St. Thomas, which is STT, and then TJCP, which is Culebra, which I feel like I always have a bunch of marbles in my mouth whenever I say it. So that's the flight. Got St. Croix down here, British Virgin Islands up here, and not a whole lot of traffic right now. Which is good. I just put in, let's see. Yeah, I just put in the VNAV profile, I put 3,000 feet at STT for the VNAV profile for coming in to Culebra. I don't think my charts are connected, and they're not. And it's a little bit annoying, but I'll just have to live with it. So, what makes Culebra interesting? Culebra is, let's go back here at the map. Culebra is it's a pretty small island, but it's got a really neat approach. And we're gonna be there in 21 minutes, so I should start thinking about that approach. It's not an instrument approach, but it is an interesting visual approach. Let's see, TJCP. Just looking at my so the runway is 2,600 feet. It's a little bit longer than St. Bart's. Elevation 49 feet. No IFR capability, 122.9. Alright, so if we come back over here real quick, I'm not going to spend the entire time with my nose in the starting our right turn here. Let's see what information it gives us. It says elevation is 7 feet. Runway is 2,598 feet by 66 feet. Runway 13. That's what we're aiming for today. So looking good. runway now over to LARP, and then PASIC, and then the U.S. Virgin Islands. So one of the things that I'm doing with this plane, you can do the high and far and fast thing. So we're going 220 knots right now, by the way. It's pretty quick. You can do... I forgot to set my altimeters back to standard, which I should have done. So you can do the high and far thing, the high and fast thing in this airplane. I've done, you know, Saint Martin to Trinidad. I've done Turks and Caicos to Anguilla. I've done some really far trips in this plane. I did New York to Anguilla one time, which is almost 6 hours. Done Jamaica to St. Martin. So this plane will cover some distance, and it does it very comfortably and very. It's just an awesome trip airplane. But if you've watched any of the videos that I've done, one of the things I talk about is that this airplane it flies fast and far. See, look at that awesome paint job. I like this. It's nice. I wish there was a little paint on the, like a little bit red and black on the wingtips there, but I still think this looks pretty slick. And this, I mean, this airplane, you know what it looks like? It looks like an Aston Martin. It's like the Aston Martin of airplanes. But one of the things that I've talked about a bunch of times while making longer videos in this airplane, or taking longer flights, whatever, is that this airplane flies very fast in cruise, but it lands like a Piper Cherokee. I mean, the final approach speed is 85 knots. And it's very tame, very stable and quiet. And so it's just, it's amazing in that regard. And I've taken it into St. Bart's. You just missed me sneezing. I've taken it into St. Bart's, no problems. I flew it into Mustique the other day, which is another kind of short and tight airport, which is really neat. It's a little island down south of Guadeloupe. And I did the video, and the video came out great, but there was no audio. So, I'm going to turn on the panel lights here. I like having the panel lights on. So, I did Mustique. That was a small little airport. It was no problem at all. I mean, the airplane just had no problem at all getting in there. Despite my ham-fisted. Efforts at flying. And anyway, so this is another one of the airports that I've wanted to check out. It's a cool airport anyway. I mean, I think that I can't remember when I flew in here. I flew in here, and I have the video on my channel. I flew in here early on in the Microsoft Flight Simulator days. Starting to see the British Virgin Islands here. And I just wanted to come back and take up the challenge in the TBM, and just kind of show what it can do. And it's really a shame that the Mustique video somehow got messed up, because it was a great approach. It was the first one, first one I ever did in this airplane. Like, I didn't practice it and then go film it so I can look good. I haven't practiced this one. I haven't been to Culebra in a year at least. Probably Virgin Gorda right there, and then Beef Island up over here. So just want to see what this plane can do in this neat little airport, and it's a cool airport to see. It's a really fun airport to check out. So Microsoft Flight Simulator released an update today, which they call Iberia, which the rest of us call Spain and Portugal. And so I decided to celebrate the Spain and Portugal upgrades by flying around the Caribbean, like I always do. I've been doing this for pretty much 2 years now. I did some flying around the Caribbean in Prepared, the simulator I used to fly before Microsoft Flight Simulator came out. It was fun. I didn't do nearly as much. I didn't use the simulator nearly as much. I didn't go to as many different places. In the Caribbean. But I'm really starting to get a good feel for, oopsie, muscle memory right there. I had to change the settings for my cameras because the button that I had been using for to switch from the inside camera, this camera, to this camera. We're going by that right there is Beef Island up over here. Right over back in here is the little airport, Beef Island Airport. Virgin Gorda right there. button I've been using to switch from that camera to this camera was the same button that Microsoft Flight Simulator has deemed to be used for disconnecting the autopilot. So every time I would go to switch cameras, I would disconnect the autopilot, which wears thin pretty quickly. So I had to figure out a new way to do it. And I don't really like the new system I have, but it's gonna have to do. That's Road Town right there. That's the capital of the British Virgin Islands. Right down that little valley there, that little inlet, I guess you'd say. So, top of descent in 10 seconds. So I'm gonna bring the power back. Go to vertical speed mode, and we'll dial that vertical speed down to 1500. You can actually see, you see the little pink arrow right there. That's the required vertical descent rate for my VNav profile. And I mean, using VNav on this flight is a little bit overkill, probably. But we're going right over the top of St. Thomas here. So runway 13. So birds in the vicinity of the runway. 600 feet between the two hills. You don't touch down below before the terminal building. Go around. Okay, sounds good. So this is St. Thomas underneath us. Going right over the top of the St. Thomas Airport. I don't know how bright an idea this is, frankly. Might have been wiser to go to the one side or the other of the island, because I'm probably going to be going straight out the final approach course. As a matter of fact, I pretty much am going to be going straight out the final approach course. I'm going to be going on a heading of 272 westbound once I pass the island here, and that is exactly the outbound heading of the runway. Basically, the runway is 10. So 1017 for I don't know what the transition altitude is here, but I'm going to dial that in right now. Should be pretty much right over the runway right now. 3004. Oh, whoops. Turning the wrong thing here. 017 3004. Alright. Ah, I did it again. I just hit the autopilot button again. Sorry. There's the runway. Look at that. Pretty cool. And I actually think that it makes more sense well, I'm gonna say I could go into heading mode and just keep going straight out. It wouldn't be a bad idea. Alright, settling in at 3,000 feet. Got 15 miles. Alright, let me look real quick. Alright, I'm gonna go heading mode here. And I'm gonna dial. Yeah, right over here. Alright. Bring the power back now, start slowing down. This thing's gonna be happening pretty quickly here. Vertical speed mode. I don't know if maybe I'm guilty of getting a little bit lazy. With this autopilot. Because it's so easy just to kind of twist the knobs. That's Vieques over there in the left, in the background. Over there. Alright, so I'm gonna turn the autopilot off. I'm gonna hand fly this. So we're gonna bring the power back to 33 and put in that first notch of flaps. Keep the nose down. Airplane seems pretty concerned that I'm not using autopilot. Don't think it has much faith in me, it doesn't seem. We got that. Put a little bit of left aileron trim in. So, I think I can still fly. My whole point, right, is to prove that this airplane is capable of being flown. Let's put a little bit more aileron trim in. Alright, so there's the island. And we're going to go back now to 2300 on the power. 2300, 23 inches. I'm going to put the gear down. And this is going to be a cool little approach. Culebra traffic, TBM 930, Mike Romeo's on a left base, runway 13, Culebra. I forgot to make any radio calls. I'm so, like, so enthralled here. If I remember correctly, it's right in over here. So, alright, gears down, flaps are down. Alright. Add a little bit of power here. So I'm getting relatively slow. Once I release the back pressure on the yoke and let this nose come down, it's not going to have any problem at all descending. So I don't want to get myself
500.
in too big of a bind here. Culebra traffic, TBM 930, Mike Romeo, short final, runway 13, Culebra. There we go, that's the runway. And I know you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute. Kind of thinking the same thing right now. This is... okay. Power is out. Look at that. And that's the thing about this airplane, is it stops pretty quickly. I mean, that was that wasn't textbook. That was not textbook. But I mean, it, you know, got the job done. I mean, you know, wasn't horrible. But if I didn't have an airplane as capable as this in an airplane with the awesome with the beta prop. Forget it. Alright, now we're going to pull this back to cut off. Brakes are set. And we'll hit the let's turn the taxi light off. Let's turn the nav and strobe lights off. Let's turn the panel lights off. Why are you beeping? Alright, we'll turn the oxygen off. Let's turn the bleed off. Yes, I know. It's still worried about the autopilot. I don't know why it's worried about the autopilot, but it is. Alright, ignition to off. Boost pump off. Turn the battery and generator off. Crash bar down. Autopilot off. And that's that. So, this is Culebra. And this is a freeware airport, by the way, from flightsim.to. It looks like we just made it in on time with this weather coming in. So this is a freeware airport, and I will definitely put I left my flaps down. That is unprofessional. Ay. Professional pilots put their flaps up. But anyway, this is a really cool little airport. I think you can see that for yourselves. I really like it. I think it's fun. Definitely a neat place to fly into, and out of, for that matter. But yeah, I mean, 2,600 feet with that, 45-degree offset there coming in on final. That had my attention. I wasn't 100% sure that I was gonna get that one down. Like I said, if I had not had beta available to me, I would have definitely gone around. Thing is, there's really not much room below approach speed in this airplane. Like, approach speed is 85. I think stall speed might be 75. So it's not like you can really do a slow, short field landing, really. I mean, I wouldn't want to get too much slower, But with beta, I mean, you just get it down. Again, you don't grease it on. You don't try to grease it on. You just want the wheels on the tarmac. I put in a little crosswind control, and that worked out well. And threw it into beta, and voila, pretty good. Pretty pleased with that one. Great little airport, really fun flight. Come check out Culebra if you get a chance.